so if you're doing this on paper, you should have titled your notes 3.5 Simplifying Radicals, so that way when I collect it, you'll be good. And tomorrow we're covering the last lesson in this like mini unit, so tomorrow after the notes, I will have you turn them in. So if you've missed any days or been absent, just make sure it's turned in, or like filled in by tomorrow to make the whole process easier.
What notes are we turning in?
This packet. So it's like 4 lessons, 3.5A through D. Yes, so after we're done taking notes, I'll just have you turn them in, I'll grade them and give them back to you. Because the test on Friday is open note, so I want to make sure that you have them back by Friday. Yes. Okay, so before I get into these practice problems, I want to just go over a couple little things that, like skills that we're going to be using throughout this. So one thing would be if you have like square root of 8, you could break that up as square root of 4 times square root of 2, and then simplify just this part. So square root of 4 would be 2, so then this would simplify to 2 square root of 2. So we're going to be using that skill, which you may have seen on Khan Academy. So for example, if you have square root of 20, there's all types of different ways you could break this up. But I would do like square root of 4 times square root of 5, because I know I can do square root of 4 is 2, and I'd get 2 square root of 5, like that. So if you had like, let's say 3 square root of 20, like this, then you could say, okay, 3 times square root of 4 times square root of 5. And this would just be 3 times 2 times square root of 5, or 6 square root of 5. Does that seem simple enough? Something else to note, another thing that comes up in this is if you have like square root of 3 times square root of 3, that would just equal 3. So that would work for anything. Let's say square root of 5 times square root of 5 would just equal 5. Easy enough? Okay, so now we're going to be incorporating that into these problems. As you may realize, some of them, they start out easier and then they get progressively harder, but we're just repeating the same kind of skills in different situations. So this first one right here, square root of 36. 36 is 6 times 6, so therefore square root of 36 would just be 6, and that's our answer. Now for 72, I'm looking for factors in that have a perfect square. So maybe like 8 and 9. I know square root of 9 and square root of 8. Square root of 9 would just be 3, right? And then for square root of 8, I can break that up into square root of 4 times square root of 2. So then square root of 4 is just 2. 3 times 2 times square root of 2. So at this point, 3 times 2 is 6. So I just get 6 square root of 2. And I'm just simplifying it as far as I can. Once I get square root of 2, there's nothing more I can do with that. Good so far? Okay, number 3. Okay, we have -2 and 180. For 180, I know I can pull out a 9, which I know has a perfect square, so I might do that to start. So -2, and then from 180, I can do times square root of 9 times square root of 20, because 9 times 20 is 180. And so I do -2, square root of 9 is 3, and then for 20, I'm going to continue breaking it up if I can, which I know I can break it up as square root of 4 times square root of 5. And then from here, just continue bringing, -2 times 3 will be -6. Square root of 4 is 2, times square root of 5. I get -12 square root of 5. So I could have broken 20 up in different ways. I could have done 10 and 2, but the reason why I didn't do that is because I wanted something that I could take the square root of. Okay, so continuing, just building on the skills. Number 4, it's square root of 5 times square root of 15. What are they looking for here? I look at these, I can't pull out a perfect square out of either of those, but I can break this up. So look what happens. If I do square root of 5 times, and I'm breaking this up as 3 and 5, times square root of 3 times square root of 5. Then I have square root of 5 times square root of 5, which would just be 5. So square root of 5 times square root of 5 is going to be 5, and then square root of 3. Number 5. So I'm going to repeat the same process, see if I can get things to cancel out or simplify. So 3 times square root of 3, there's not much I can do with that. For square root of 6, I'm going to break that up as 3 and 2. So square root of 3 times square root of 2. And then from there, square root of 3 times square root of 3 is going to be 3. And I get square root of 2. So 3 times 3 is 9 times square root of 2. And that's as far as I can simplify it. Everybody following? Am I going too fast? Or too slow? Okay. Always. At least you're staying awake today. I appreciate that. Number 6, same thing. We're just going to break it up and see what we can get to. Oh, wait, I put that at the wrong spot. We're going to break it up and see what we can get to cancel or simplify. So for square root of 30, I'm just going to break it up into as many like small factors as I can. 3 times, and then I think of 10, but I'm going to break up 10 even to square root of 5 and square root of 2. So I just broke up 30 into like the smallest factors I could. I was thinking 3 times 10, and then I just broke up 10 into 5 times 2. And then what's that? I could, well, 6 could then be broken up into 3 and 2 too. Yeah, what's that? Okay, and then for the second one here, 7 times, maybe pull a 5 out of there. And then 5 times 9 is 45, so I can use 9. I know I can take the square root of that. Okay, so now I'm going to just kind of see what I can get to simplify. I know I can do 2 times 7 to get to 14. Might do that. Then square root of 5 times square root of 5 is going to be 5. So cross those out, just times 5. Square root of 9 is 3. And then square root of times square root of 3 times square root of 2. So these 14 times 5 times 3 comes out to 210, right? Is that what y'all got? I should check it with calculator. But that's what I have on the answer key.
Yeah, 210.
Okay. And then square root of 3 times square root of 2. I can't do much more with that. I'm just going to put them together as square root of 6. Okay. Then number 7. There are different ways we could do this. Just continuing with the same way we've been doing it, I'm just going to break up 32 into different factors, but there's another way I'm going to show you as well. So just continuing with the same process, 32, I might take square root of 2, then 16, right? So square root of 16, or I could do square root of 4 times square root of 4 over square root of 2. I feel like something's not right. No? Oh yeah, no, I'm good. Okay. So once I have it set up like this, the square root of 2 cancels. And then square root of 4 times square root of 4 is just 4. So my answer is 4. That was continuing with the same process, but for this one specifically, there actually is a shortcut, and it won't work for every problem, but it works for this one. Both of these individually in a square root is the same as doing 32 over 2 in a square root. So 32 divided by 2 is 16, and then square root of 16 is 4. You could do it this way as well. Okay, number 8. Number 8, there's no way to break this apart. 7's prime. But what they're getting at is you can't have the square root as a denominator, so we have to do something to get rid of the square root as a denominator. So what we would do here is we'd multiply this whole thing by square root of 7 over square root of 7, which is 1. So we're multiplying the whole thing by 1. Andrew, do you feel lost? Yeah. So at this point, we're multiplying it by 1. 3 times square root of 7 is 3 square root of 7. And then square root of 7 times square root of 7 is just 7. And then from here, there's nothing more we can do. We're done. Number 8, we're just going to break this up into smallest factors, see what we can get to cancel. Square root of 8 would be square root of 4 times square root of 2. 16 would be square root of 4 times square root of 4. So here I would get 2 square root of 2 over square root of 4 times square root of 4 is just 4. And then I can simplify this one step further. 2 and 4 would simplify. This would be 1 and 2. So square root of 2 over 2. And then number 10, continuing the same process. Just breaking everything up. Square root of 3 is as simple as it gets. 6 can be broken up as square root of 2 times square root of 3. And when you do that, the square root of 3 cancels. And I'm left with 4 over square root of 2. But we can't leave the square root as a denominator. So we multiply by square root of 2 over 2. Multiplying by 1, but that gets rid of the square root in the denominator. Then we get 4 square root of 2 over 2. Simplify the 4 and the 2 divided by 2 to get 1 and 2. And the answer is 2 square root of 2. Okay, 11. Start with the 6. Break up the 40 into factors. Maybe 4 times 10. 4 times 5 times 2. I'm just going to leave it as 10 because I don't think I can do much more than that. Then be 6 over 2 square root of 10. Which simplifies 3 over square root of 10. As you may predict, we have to multiply by square root of 10 over square root of 10. Do this. Okay, and last but not least, number 12. Just going to break it up like we have been. 2 square root of 5 over 3 times square root of 4 times square root of 6. This would be 3 times 2, so I get 6 square root of 6. Simplify this to 1 and 3. and then multiplying by something to get that square root out of the way. So if I multiply by square root of 6 over square root of 6, I'll get rid of that. Okay, so square root of 5 times square root of 6 is square root of 30. Then here we have 3 times 6, which would be 18. And that's it. Fun, huh? Okay, so your homework's on this tonight. There's 10 questions. There's some easier ones, some a little bit harder, but nothing harder than this here. If you have questions as you do the homework, of course, you can ask. We still have 28 minutes in class, so that's plenty to get the homework done. So if you need help with it, please let me know. If you finish the homework early, get started on Khan Academy, please use a laptop. So go ahead and get up and get a laptop and get started.